The icy wind whipped through the snow-covered valley, and the tension in the air was suffocating. The Cullens and their allies stood firm, surrounded by friends and witnesses who had come from all corners of the world. The Volturi, in a perfect line, watched from the other side of the field, their black cloaks billowing with each gust of wind. There were no more words left to say. Aro had listened to every testimony, had observed Renesmee with his own eyes, had analyzed every movement with the same expression of relentless interest. But in the end, his decision had been made from the start. "We have deliberated," he announced in his soft, almost melancholic voice, "and though this creature, Renesmee, does not appear to be an immediate threat, the future remains uncertain." Edward clenched his fists. "There is no uncertain future," he growled. "Renesmee is not a danger." Aro looked at him with something akin to compassion. "Perhaps to you, dear Edward, but the rest of the world will not see it that way." Bella felt the fury burning inside her. She knew what he was going to say before he said it. "We, the Volturi, cannot allow the possibility of a future threat." His voice sounded almost sorrowful, as if he truly regretted what was about to happen. "And for that, we have decided that Renesmee Cullen must be eliminated." A deadly silence fell over the field. And then, everything exploded into chaos. Carlisle moved first. There was no hesitation, no room for doubt. As soon as he understood what Aro had just decreed, he launched forward with vampiric speed, his face set with determination. Aro raised his hand calmly. Felix and Dimitri intercepted Carlisle midair. The impact sounded like thunder, snow exploding around them as their bodies collided. Carlisle fought fiercely, but he was at a clear disadvantage. And then Caius moved. Bella didn't see the attack until it was too late. A flash of black and white, and then Carlisle had no head. "No!" Esme's scream tore through the air. Time seemed to slow as Carlisle's body fell, lifeless, his head separated from his body. Bella felt a roar rise in her throat before she could even process it. Edward disappeared from her side in a blink, and then the war began. Bodies crashed into the snow, bites and tears filling the air with chilling sounds. Jasper and Emmett launched into battle with brutal rage, tearing through the first guards that stood in their way. Alice moved with impossible agility, dodging attacks with the speed of someone who had seen this battle in her visions thousands of times. But the Volturi were not alone. Their guards were disciplined, lethal. Jane, with a simple glance, sent Garrett to the ground screaming, his body racked with indescribable pain. Alex spread his dark mist, shutting down the senses of the Quileute wolves trying to fight back. And then Bella acted. Her shield extended from her like an invisible force field, protecting her own from Jane and Alex's terror. "Now!" she shouted, her voice cutting through the chaos. Kate and Zafrina seized the moment. Kate's electricity struck Jane with a brutal shock, and Zafrina cast her illusion over the Volturi, plunging them into momentary blindness. But Aro remained standing. He watched the battle without moving, his eyes scanning every movement with precision. And then he gave the final order: kill them all. Bella felt something cold tighten around her heart. There was no turning back. This battle would not end until one side was completely exterminated. And for the first time, the Cullens could truly lose. The battlefield was a chaos of shadows and destruction. Screams of pain, the sound of bodies being torn apart, the impact of vampires colliding with impossible force. The snow was stained black and red. Bella barely had time to think. Her shield vibrated around her like an invisible barrier, blocking Jane and Alex's attacks, protecting her family. But it wasn't enough. Carlisle was dead. Esme was still on the field, fighting, but her pain was visible in every movement. She wasn't fighting to win. She just wanted to keep going until there was nothing left. Jasper fell first. Alec managed to break through Bella's defense for an instant, and the dark mist enveloped him. He was left blind, deaf, without any sense at all. And in that second of vulnerability, the Volturi attacked him as a group. It was fast. It was ruthless. Bella watched as they tore off his head and threw it into the snow, as if he were nothing. Alice screamed his name, but she could do nothing. Rosalie and Emmett fought back to back, destroying anyone who came near them. But then, Felix found a weak spot. He struck Rosalie hard, slamming her into the ground with a thunderous crash. Emmett roared and lunged at him, but 3 more Volturi guards fell on him at the same time. He couldn't take them all. Bella saw Rosalie writhing, trying to get up while Emmett fought desperately. But then she stopped moving. Bella couldn't look. She couldn't allow herself to see it, because then everything would be over. The resistance was falling. The Quileute wolves roared in pain as their numbers dwindled. Seth died protecting Leah. Sam died with his fangs buried in a vampire's neck before they tore him in half. And Bella knew they were losing. Edward grabbed her hand, his eyes wild. "Bella, we have to go." She looked at him, desperate. "We can't. There's no choice." And then she saw Renesmee. Jacob was running with her in his arms, getting as far away from the battlefield as he could. Aro watched them from a distance with a look of fascination. "Ah, so it is true." He raised a hand. "Stop them." Dimitri and 2 other guards launched themselves after them. Bella didn't think. Her body moved before her mind could decide. She appeared in front of Dimitri in an instant, baring her fangs. "You will not touch her." Dimitri smirked. "You're no match for me, little one." Bella tore him apart in a second. Her strength was new, sharpened by fury. She was no longer the weak, fragile Bella Swan. But she couldn't stop the others. Leah tried to intercept them. She died in the attempt. Jacob kept running with Renesmee, but the Volturi were faster. They were about to catch him. Bella screamed, and then Edward jumped to the front. He went straight for Felix, the largest of the guards. Felix was strong, but Edward was faster. He moved with a fury Bella had never seen before. He tore Felix apart without mercy, but then Alec found him. Bella saw it too late. Edward was caught in Alec's mist, vulnerable, and Caius decapitated him without hesitation. Bella felt no pain. She felt nothing, only absolute emptiness. And then, rage. The snow melted around her as her scream tore through the air. Her shield expanded with a power she had never felt before. The Volturi froze. Jane screamed as her power stopped working. Alec stumbled, his mist vanishing. Zephrina saw her chance and cast her illusion over all the guards. "Now!" Bella roared. The remaining Cullens attacked with everything they had left. The battle turned into a massacre. There was no more order, no strategy, only blood and fury. Jane died first. Bella made sure to do it with her own hands. Caius tried to escape. He didn't make it. Aro tried to negotiate. But when Bella looked at him with the blood of her family in the snow, with Edward's body still motionless on the ground, there was no negotiation. Aro Hale ceased to exist that night. The Volturi were destroyed, but so were the Cullens. Only Bella, Alice, and Esme remained. Jacob and Renesmee managed to escape. The vampire world had changed forever, but Bella couldn't feel victory because her world had died with Edward, and eternity had never felt so empty.